Today's guest isn't just our CEO, he's one of the most respected leaders in the mortgage business. Someone who's built a company that delivers at the highest level year after year, with a foundation of standards, structure, and care for his people. Shah Tehrany is the founder and CEO of Madison Mortgage, a company known for its clarity, culture, growth, and that's extremely consistent and intentional. He's not just running a business, he's mentoring leaders such as myself, developing top producing loan officers such as myself, and building something people are proud to be a part of. What sets Shah apart is not just how he operates, but how he shows up focused, direct, generous with his knowledge, and deeply respected by the people around him. In this episode, we're diving into what it really takes to scale a company with integrity, from systems and decision-making to leadership, mindset, and the daily habits that fuel long-term success. So if you're a founder, a loan officer, or a leader looking to sharpen your edge, this conversation will earn your ears. And let's begin with my original mentor, Mr. Shah Tehrany. Welcome to your own show, essentially.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are we feeling today?
This reminds me of like the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah.
With we have just as many followers as he
Joe.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're almost there.
We're working on it.
Working on it, baby.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Fire away.
Yeah, let's start this off with... Well, actually, let's just start this off with some general stuff. What is your current focus for Madison right now, this second? What are you working on?
Right now, I'm working on scaling. So it's, I'd say recruiting is probably the primary focus. Okay. There are some ancillary, components that always sort of remain a focus, like Salesforce development, operations development, but scale right now, based on this model that we've deployed, is something that we're focused on.
So let's jump into Salesforce, because for me as an LO and team leader here, it's made a tremendous impact on my business.
Yeah.
But what made you decide to go with Salesforce, and what was the vision behind it? I mean, we've been at it for a while now, but it just keeps better and better. So the more granular you can get, the better.
Yeah, I mean, Madison's been around. We're in our fifth year here. So we technically started in the beginning of 2020. Salesforce was always something that was a focus early on, even in 2020, 2021. I just don't think we were mature enough for it yet. I think it's the best business management operating system out there. I know everyone calls it a CRM, but it's just so much more than that. The challenge was that there's an enormous amount of investment that goes into Salesforce. They give you a blank canvas and they're like, go. And so we found the right spot in the entry point. We had enough scale where we can make the investment that we wanted to make. And it's transformed our business and will continue to transform our business.
I definitely agree. It has been, it's been wonderful. It's made my life much easier, more efficient, and I want to talk to you about, more specifically, we'll get into the sales piece, but can you dive into how Salesforce has made operations so much more efficient? Like, what did you specifically address? How did you do it? Yeah,
the whole concept of, from a technical standpoint, in terms of when you're building your technical architecture, is like, the goal is to measure. You want to be able to measure everything. You want to be able to create tools that help your team do their job better and more efficiently. And as managers and as people that are leading a company, we want to be able to measure those variables. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? How many days does it take to perform a specific function? How many hours does it take to perform a specific function? Do we have real-time visibility and reporting? Do we know how many loans we've, disclosed today? How many loans have we approved today? Subs approved, cleared, closed. Do we know what the next 2 weeks looks like? Do we know what the next 2 months looks like in terms of production? Being able to measure, I think that's what, a quality IT system in our space is going to give us a lot of visibility and provide a lot of information that we can use to make business decisions. And so, from a tooling standpoint, I think our ops team's in love with Salesforce because it's so great. All conditions are present in there. It's easy to work with. All our doc management's built in there. And the fun thing about Salesforce is that it's just constantly getting better, right? And that's so much about like what we're about in Madison is how do we get better every day? And this tool just enables us to do that as well, right? From a technical standpoint.
If you could mention, let's say, 2 items in Salesforce that you implemented that made the biggest impact, what would those be?
Yeah, I'd say condition visibility in Salesforce. The fact that we use an API to pull those from our lenders, where the conditions are present in there. We know how many conditions are there. The borrowers have portal. They can access conditions and upload documents to those conditions. And so we're measuring at any given time how many loans do we have, how many conditions do we have open on those loans, or how many loans have conditions that are ready to go to the lender, right? So if we have, for instance, if we have 8 conditions on a loan, right, we might have received 3 of them. So we'll mark 3 of them as ready for lender. We may not, because we don't want to necessarily have an underwriting touch, we may hold those 3 because we know 2 more, 3 more inbound that day. We may hold them. We can measure all of that. And right, and specifically our processing team can measure all of that. So they know what's going on with every loan. They know how many conditions they have to upload. They know when their volume of conditions they sort of need to start making some subs. And so there's really good tooling for them that makes it easier for them to do their job and hold a lot of loans.
Right. And another thing I wanted to ask you about actually was the processing turnaround time. What is that? Well, how do you actually have it even structured now? When I'm talking about turnaround time, I'm meaning from client document submission and then review and then getting back to the client. What does that look like?
You mean on the LO side or the op side?
Op side.
Yeah, so for the op side, I think, so we're very much assembly line. So we'll have a team of folks that are just disclosing and opening loans, right? Because we want to, deliver same day disclosure. So an LO is not focused on all that little nuance, right? Yeah. Put a good loan in, send a disclosure request in Salesforce. We're going to jump in right away. We're going to fire away at it. We're going to scrub it, review it, make sure it's tight, see if we see any gaps. We're going to get it, disclosed with the lender that's applicable, the lender that you've suggested or selected, and then we're going to open it. We're going to get that moving. That stuff's usually same day, next day on disclosures. Yep. Then you're rapidly going through an opening process, rapidly moving to the submission team. You got a DE underwriter that's going to scrub that loan down hard, make sure that the quality of the submission is going. Then you get the loans that are approved, which is like, we're in the high 90% range submission to approval because we've had 2 steps now to sort of clean and scrub the loans. And then our processors get the loans. They get approved loans in their pipeline.
Which are fairly clean condition-wise.
They are. And what we do is actually we actually submit the conditions to the borrower. One of the cool things that Salesforce lets us do is when the submission team has scrubbed the approval, post-approval, before they assign it, they're prepping all of the conditions that are going to go out to the borrower. And the email actually goes out to the consumer upon assignment of the loan, but it goes on behalf of the processor. And there's also an LO introduction email that goes out introducing the processor that's about to be assigned. So,
and to be clear, this is fully automated.
It's fully automated, right? Yeah. That's what's so cool. So it's not like, well, the processor doesn't have time to review the approval. Upon assignment, the borrower's already got that email. So the cool thing is they may have, first of all, they're excited. They got their approval. Second of all, they already got an introduction from the LO to the processor, and they already know what they need to upload and what they need to send in.
And that initial approval email is scrubbed by a DE underwriter.
Yes, it's scrubbed by them because they know the loan. They subbed it. Right? So if it comes back and there are 7 conditions, but 2 of them were already in the upload or the underwriter didn't understand and conditioned incorrectly, we'll deal with that before we assign it to a processor. So the processors get it, and they're just dealing with the conditions that are there that sort of need to be addressed, right?
Which are fairly easier conditions.
I mean, there's no easy loans in this market. It's the loan business is a tough business, but it's certainly easier than I think a lot of retail shops who sort of just they hand it to a processor and the processor takes it start to finish. Yep. It's not particularly efficient. It moves quite slow. Right? If you want to close loans in 2 weeks, the way to do it is to have an engine built like that to be able to handle the volume.
Right. So let's address something really quick, because to the average person this may sound a little messy, like the consumer is hearing from all these different people, but that's not the reality, right? The consumer only hears from essentially 2 people at Madison.
Yeah. We're really sensitive about that, right? It's like you don't want 7 people communicating with a borrower, right? It creates like sort of a fatigue for the borrower. You want their experience to be their loan officer or loan officer team members. It's typically 1 to 2 people on the LO side. And then really you're hearing from one ops person, which is the processor,
Right.
when your loan is approved. You may interact with the closer as well once the loan moves into closing. But it's pretty seamless. It's all on the same team, right?
Yeah, it makes life easier. We know the saying, too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
It creates a mess, confuses the borrower. And plus, you build a rapport with someone. You don't necessarily want to go ahead and build a new relationship from start to finish. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, and I think just to be clear, like the reason we built it this way, and this was built, by us all collectively, is like we want LOs to originate loans.
Right.
If LOs are spending a ton of time chasing conditions or communicating with borrowers on approved loans, they're not spending that time originating loans or prospecting or doing business development, right? That was the whole premise behind it.
Yeah.
And we've scaled quite a bit. We have a lot of loans. That's why we're hiring processors, because we've built this great engine, and now we need to sort of be ahead of the curve a little bit as we anticipate rates will come down, and summer's always busy. So staying ahead of the curve, overstaffed by design a bit.
Yeah, I'll add another component to it because it enhances consumer experience. I can tell you as an LO personally how many consumers I've come across that they've done loans with other lenders, and they're literally shocked by how seamless the process is.
Yeah.
Of course, not everyone's experience is like that, but it's the vast majority.
That's the goal, right? That's the goal,
Yeah.
is to create that experience, right? And use tech and automation to help us. And listen, we're not perfect. We're, not everyone's going to get a
Constantly
perfect
refining.
experience. Like there are always things that we need to fix. And honestly, that's the fun stuff, right? It's like, what are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What do we need to focus on? What problems do we need to solve? How can we do this better? And that's the process that we go through week after week, month after month. You gain those inches that come in, turn into yards and become, your wins.
On the LO side, what do you think of a few of the main things an LO needs to do to submit a clean file to ensure their consumer has a smoother experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with like a pristine application, right? Like a really solid 1003, where you've reviewed employment and assets really carefully. But a lot of it's just understanding the makeup of your loan. I'd say the biggest problem most mortgage companies experience is like the LO has a good sense of the deal.
Right.
How do you get that data dumped into a system? And I think that's what we've sort of done well in Salesforce is how do we get what's in your brain as an LO, onto our roadmap into different sections. Like, tell us what the asset plan is. Tell us what the roadmap looks like for the loan. Are there any credit notes that we need to know about? Right, and all that stuff sort of documented in our system so that our ops team's actually looking at that and they know what the roadmap and the game plan is. But
And to add to that, Shah, all the borrower communication is imported into Salesforce.
it is.
Right.
That one of the cool integrations between Microsoft and Salesforce is that you can see all of the correspondence that goes to the borrower contact in Salesforce, including text messages, email, and text. So.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
now a lot of LOs don't use it or really focus on it as much as because at the end of the day, LO doesn't care. All he wants is his loan to get approved and his loan to get cleared. And he wants to go get more loans. And that's precisely what we want too. So it works out.
So
but the ops team certainly uses it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. It's more so for the ops to reference and get an understanding of how the relationship is developed and all that fun stuff.
What's the history?
What I wanted to jump into is the fun stuff.
Okay.
We'll switch to flat fee. I know you've talked about it a million times, but it's always good to hear again.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it.
What led to the decision to switch to flat fee? And what is the vision for the next couple of years? Where are you looking to take this?
Yeah, I mean, so many people ask me this question because they were like, "Why did you switch? Because you're already such a successful mortgage company." The answer is really simple. It's definitely something I've been thinking about for a couple of years. But the answer is simple: is I want to build a company that builds an infrastructure that's best for LOs. Right? I was an LO myself.
As I know very well.
And a lot of a lot of the LOs that are here that have scaled from 2, 3, 5 loans a month to 15 or 20. I mean, I love these guys. I love them all, including you. So I want to make sure that they're doing well and have the ability to make a lot of money. And so, giving out 100% commission split and just charging a flat fee was a real way to do it. It's not a there's proof of concept for that. Right, there are other companies that have done it successfully. Not many that have done it very successfully in New York. So it's a little newer in the New York metro area, but it works. And the goal is, we're doing 125 loans a month now with probably 15 solid originators. I mean, we have on the books, we have, a little sub 40, around 40 LOs, which is not a lot pound for pound for what we do.
Right.
And a lot of that 40 is just licensed loan officer assistants, as you know, and not actual folks that are sourcing and originating business. Just for compliance reasons, we like to keep all our LOAs licensed. But the goal is to get to 500-600 LOs around the country who are operating at an average of, say, 2 loans a month. Right? If you're doing 1 or 2, we'll help you get to 3, 4. Through scale, through sharp pricing, through lender options, having having up to 40 lenders to choose from,
having your time freed because of
having your time freed because you have good infrastructure,
right?
And having really sharp pricing. Who wins? The consumer wins. The LO wins. You don't have to charge these crazy rates and crazy margins to be able to give people loans and make money. You can make great money. The company makes a small flat fee, and that's just fine. And for us, the goal is to get to 1,000 loans a month.
And you could essentially say that Salesforce and the rest of the tech stack made Madison so efficient. This way you could actually go flat fee, because if you have these insane margins and you're overstaffed, not in a way that like we're overstaffed by design so we can keep things moving, but you're overstaffed because you have to be, because it's so inefficient, right? The efficiency is what ultimately allows going flat fee to be affordable, to let the business keep running itself and to grow.
Yeah, totally. I think we just, the reason I didn't do it sooner was I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I didn't think we were ready as an organization. I think our tech stack needed to be sharper and tighter, right? Sales always follows ops. You can't go out there and recruit hundreds of salespeople to come join you and your ops is not there, right? And when I say ops, I mean, your tech stack from the start down. Your tech stack, it starts with your tech stack, and then of course all the people that sort of run that operation. So I felt like we were ready. I felt like the timing was good.
Yeah.
I felt like I was ready, and so that's what we did.
We were ready too. It was great.
Yes, and the LOs are excited, which is fun. And we're all going to make some great money, and a lot of the folks that are joining us. I mean, we've had almost 20 people join us now in the last 60 days.
That's crazy.
And there's a whole bunch in queue that are coming. So it's fun and it's exciting. There's a lot of new faces here.
I see that every day.
And they're excited because they're coming out of these different shops, and this is a whole new world. Like, you could remember when we jumped into the wholesale world more than almost 6 years ago, man. Like, we were just like, what? Like, how is this possible? How could it be this good? How, no scared underwriting, same day approvals, same day condition review. Like,
it's easier, faster, pricing's better,
way sharper,
services better,
easy to beat people. It's just great. It's just, I love this world.
It was hard to believe. I think it's one of those things that you have to experience to really believe it, because saying out loud, it does sound too good to be true.
Totally.
But that's why the broker channel in general has grown so much over the past 5 years.
Listen, if people don't realize it now, this is where it's at. Retail is a dying breed. Like, if you're a massive retail company like a Rocket, they're an amazing company and they do a great job, and they have, tremendous tech systems, hiring practices. They're great. There's a lot of other great companies out there, but the small independent mortgage banker that has massive overhead, does things inefficiently, still using Encompass, those guys just won't exist in 5 years. That's my opinion. At least, or I should say, there will be a tremendous amount of consolidation, and a lot of them will just be out.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
I'm not biased at all.
Yeah.
No, you can see it, right? You can literally see it in, like, I mean, I could see it with competing with these companies and what I hear from the other LOs in retail who are just suffering.
They're all miserable. All miserable. Yeah, of course, rates could drop and they'll get some life and stuff, but the word's out. People know that the wholesale channel is really strong. They know there's a lot of great players, of course, UWM being one of them. It's only a matter of time. And so, with companies like Madison making the switch to flat fee, I think it gives a lot of these companies, these LOs, the ability to sort of move. I mean, I'm even getting calls from recruiters that want to come work for us. So, it's getting fun and it's interesting. That's what's exciting about it for me.
Yeah, the way that I view it is that we have an unfair advantage. and
It's fair.
It's fair if they want to put in the work and they want to
Yes.
do everything else, but I like having an unfair advantage.
Agreed.
It's quite
That's
enjoyable for me.
It makes the business fun.
Yeah.
That's what like wholesale's done for us. Like we were miserable in retail. We came here and now it's fun. And now it's like sky's the limit. What are we doing? What are we focused on? What do we want to try and grow? It's great.
So I want to go back into hiring. You're very well known for hiring one of the greatest LOAs of all time.
Yes.
Which was one of the best decisions you ever made.
Indeed.
But seriously, let's talk about because the team that we have here from, not just myself, obviously, but from Erica and our team leads and even our operations, like how do you identify talent? Like even for me, and we experienced this a couple months ago, like I interviewed someone who I was sure about, but I just had a feeling, just Shah, you have an eye just in case, interview this person. So your ability to recognize it's not just talent, but also implications. Thank you. Yeah. On company culture, is key, and just general. Like if they're going to add to the vibe essentially that we're going for here. Like how do you go about that? Or is it just like instinctual at this point?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's second nature at this point, but yeah, a lot of it's just feel. A lot of it's feel. A lot of it's like, I think I have a fairly good understanding of human behavior. Right. And I think, look, fundamentally, I just want great people here, right? Like I come here every day. I dedicate so much of my time in my life here. I want to be around good people. I want to be around happy, positive people that want to win and want to come and grow. That's what it's about, right? There's a lot of wonderful people. There's tons of people that have interviewed here that were great, but maybe weren't necessarily the best fit for us or for the role that they were coming for. And we've hired some great people. Our retention rate's super high.
You have a lot of people, including myself, that have been here for 13 plus years.
Yeah, we've been together a long time. A lot of the core group is together a long time. We just, most people just don't leave because when they figure out how good this place is and figure out how good the people are here and the team that we've sort of assembled, there's really no reason to leave. And everyone's paid well, and we try to be as generous as we possibly can and pay people well. But I think it just comes down to like, we've just assembled a good team, and if we don't feel like you're a good fit for our environment, you just won't be here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way that it really should be. Something that I'll add, and I've been told this by other loan officers, specifically in the New York area, that when they go into their office, it feels like a boiler room or like a Wolf of Wall Street wannabe club. It has this, you could even say like this toxic masculinity to it, which, we're aggressive, we're competitive, but it's more of a collaborative culture here. You have LOs, including myself, who help LOs not on my team or collaborate with other team leads. Totally. So what would you say attributes to that culture? It's just the picking of those people that more have an altruistic nature to them, or it's developed through time?
I think it's just tone, right? Like you set a tone for the company. That's kind of my job, right? Is to set a tone for like how we treat each other, how we interact with each other. Yeah, we're in a sales environment, but we're rooting for each other. Right? Yep. We're always helping each other, right? I can count numerous times a week that I see somebody on someone else's team walking over somebody on on another team that have no financial interest in each other, but they're just collaborating and helping each other. Everyone just wants to win here. We're all going to help each other. We're all going to act as a team. And it's important to note, like, a lot of those companies you reference, like, it's always like sales versus ops in those companies.
That's a great point.
And we're nothing like that, right? Like, we have loan officers and processors hanging out together. They're helping each other. I see LOs at like processor's desk, and it's collaborative and it's fun and the energy's good. Everyone's respectful. Everyone's respectful for each other because we don't tolerate bullshit, right? You're not going to misbehave. You're going to conduct yourself like a professional here. Lord knows I fired some good producing loan officers who don't know how to behave and treat members of our ops team. I'm just not going to stand for it. I don't give a fuck how many loans you close. Right. You're just not going to operate that way at Madison. So, so the answer is, I think you set the tone and you sort of people in general want to behave that way, right? People
Right.
want to be in an environment where everybody looks out for each other and takes care of each other. It's fun, right? So
It is fun. I mean,
we're blessed to have
every
that.
day coming
We're blessed.
in. Yeah, we're very we're blessed. You could say we're lucky, but it's also something that's been created over time. It's not
intentional.
It's built.
It's been intentional.
by-
We built
yeah.
it intentionally this way.
Yeah, and you set that tone specifically in our Wednesday sales meetings, right? Like everyone feels that energy. Everyone leaves the meeting not with a rah 300 Spartan chest pounding, but more of like a positive, uplifting. This is how you take it. This is how you go, and
Just be
it's
happy,
day by day.
come in every day, work hard, be good to everyone around you. If you have a winning mindset, you'll win every day.
All right, let's shift
Okay.
to more of your mindset. I think one of the things that you do very well is that you bring positivity in every day, or I'd say most days. Of course, we all have our moments. We're human, but you're very good at that. How do you do that? What do you attribute it to?
I just think it's how I'm wired, man.
Yeah.
I think I just wake up happy.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not happy, I'll put myself in a happy state.
How do you do that?
I just remember that like the mortgage game is a tough business. It's a tough game, and that you're going to get knocked a couple different ways every day, and there's always challenges, right? And that's what I kind of mean is like any business, doesn't matter what business you're in, mortgages or not, like every day you're going to go in, you're going to get presented with challenges that you need to address, right? Hopefully your schedule and your days built in a way where you're planned, you're structured, you know how you're approaching your day. But the answer is really simple. It's just like if you got good people around you, you got a good team, everyone's happy, everyone's positive, it's fun to come into work. You want to come into work. You want to be, I'm fired up in the mornings, man. When I get up in the morning, like, what I'd love to do is just be in my gym routine every morning and then get ready, get showered, get into the office. So kiss my kids, kiss my wife, play with them a little bit for a few minutes and get in here and attack the day, right? I usually have an agenda. I usually have a plan. So I'm excited about coming in and sort of tackling that. And so, mindset's everything, man. Like if you come with a positive mindset every day, can't lose. But a lot of it comes down to having a great team, right? Like if you come in and you work for a company that no matter what challenge presents itself, and it will, right? Because we're not selling ice cream here, right? You will run into some challenges. You got a great team and you got a great leadership team that loves you and is going to help you. It's going to, hey, you got a problem? If you got a problem, I got a problem, right? So I think coming in, working somewhere where they have that culture impacts you, right? Yeah, you got to get up in the morning, and some people, I didn't sleep good, right? So it starts with good sleep, right? Restorative,
can you
structured
talk
sleep.
about
That's
this?
why we're all wearing these rings, and
Yeah.
I took mine off this morning to put it on the charger. But good sleep, good eating habits, good exercise habits. Do the stuff that makes your mind feel good, your body feel good, right? If you're smoking cigarettes and smoking weed and drinking every night, you're not going to feel good, right? That's just not how it works, right? So start with being healthy, treating your body well, and eat and enjoy too, but and be a little bit of a degenerate. We all need our outlets.
Yeah, you gotta have a little bit.
Yeah, but to answer your question about just how do you wake up positive, you just fucking decide that that's how you're gonna wake up.
Okay.
Right. When you wake up, you're like, I'm gonna be positive today. And if you need to say it to yourself, you say it to yourself. I'm not kidding. Like you could be in the mirror. Like Tony Robbins taught me this at age 21. Like. He does these crazy things where he's just like, if you're in your car and you're not feeling good, like start screaming yes for a minute. He does this like crazy, like yes, like you can actually shock your body into feeling good, right? There's a lot of science that sort of suggests that that's valid. I don't need to do that, but if like I'm having a bad day, I might look at myself and just be like, hey, snap out of it. Like today's going to be a great day. Right, just the positive affirmations.
Affirmations help for me personally. It's going to the gym.
Is super helpful.
If I'm stressed out, sometimes I go the opposite way, and I just say to myself, "Okay, things are a little tough right now. I've got a lot going on. Take some deep breaths, accept it, and then boom, like facing reality as well."
Love that. Deep diaphragmatic breathing is also really helpful. It's a wonderful tool when you're feeling stressed or anxious. Right?
How do you feel about not just you specifically, but generally people's ability to grow? And do you feel like taking on stress, maybe at least to a certain degree, is kind of like a muscle. You can take on more responsibility, you can do harder things, and as time goes on, you get better at those things, and that allows you to step up and try the new things that you need to do to grow your business. And that could be for ops, it could be for an LO, founder, etc.
Yeah, I think stress is an interesting topic in general, right? Everyone sort of deals and manages stress differently, but also the things that stress you out are different. Some of that comes with, I feel like, just age and skill, right? Like the things that used to stress me out 10 or 15 years ago, or I shouldn't say stress me out, I never really get stressed out, but like the things that create stress in your environment, they change as you mature. Like, I'm married, I have 2 little kids. Like,
I'm sure, having kids changes your perspective.
Well, having kids changes everything in your life, but just some of it's just experience, man. It's just like, it's all good. Like, we're gonna figure it out, mentality, right? And just, break down what the issues are. Stress is a function, or anxiety in general, which I don't really experience very much. I'm not an anxious person.
Right.
There's very little that will make me anxious, right? For me, even the most difficult situations is more like, let me assess the problem, right? Because every problem has a solution. That's how I respond to stress or to challenges, right? What's the problem? What are the options in terms of how to solve it? How do we solve it, right? What can we do? Sometimes it's, understand the problem better, and so you can solution it, right? But everything fundamentally can be solutioned, right?
I agree.
So that's how I manage stress.
That's essentially the frame, right?
Yeah.
Is that it can be solved. And, a lot of people say that in the mortgage business, we're not surgeons, right? It's not life or death, but these are really important transactions
They
too.
are.
So it's
people's lives, man.
Right. So you
People's
have to,
lives and their homes
exactly.
and,
they're moving.
serious
It's
stuff.
huge financial. It's maybe the financial equivalent almost of them getting a surgery.
Yeah.
So LOs need to remain cool, calm, collected, which I saw you do for many years when you were LO yourself.
The key is just not to panic, right? And part of getting really good at managing that stuff is just having a great process, understanding the loan instrument as a whole. Like, a lot of people, like, I still get folks knocking on my desk like, hey, I'm in this complex situation, like, how do I solve it? Right? And it's just like, well, having deep understanding of the loan instrument, how it works from start to finish, is helpful.
As you've said many times, knowledge drives success.
Yep, knowledge drives success, right? Like, you want to be confident about something. And listen, I'm almost 20 years in this business, right? I've seen almost every scenario or some variation of different scenarios. You still see some new stuff. Time to time, that's the fun stuff. It's like, oh, that's an interesting one. Okay, let's think about it. So going back to managing stress, and just like, I think it's, if you prepare well, if you have great knowledge, if you come with a good attitude every day, there's really not much that's going to hit you that you can't sort of deal with and manage, right?
Okay, moving on to a huge topic these days is AI. How do you personally use, it's a 2-part question. How do you personally use AI to make yourself more productive, efficient, etc.? And how do you think AI is going to change the mortgage business over the next few years, specifically on the originating side? I'm happy to repeat those after you hit the second one or the first.
Yeah, I mean, so on a daily basis, I use AI in the capacity of just my business practices, right? Some emails that might have taken me a half hour to draft and reread before I respond might take me 5 minutes now. There's a lot of like documents and things that might get prepared in the course of doing business. I've used AI as an attorney for me. So I might give it a prompt instruction to say like, hey, I want you to review this legal document as an attorney and give me legal opinion on any risks associated with signing this contract. Tell me also specifically about cancellation clauses, termination clauses, any effects of that nature. So it might read a contract that might take me an hour to read, and do it and give me a summary in 2 minutes. I can read it in 5 minutes and have a good assessment and maybe decide if I want to read certain subsections of the contract or agreements. So it's helpful in that respect. I mean, I use Madison Mortgage AI. We've built our own GPT.
Yep.
I've had LOs walk into my office, and I'm like, okay, you want an answer to that question? Let's ask Madison Mortgage AI, right? And so we'll ask it a question. And the cool thing about ChatGPT is when you build GPTs on top of it, you can do the audio conversations now too, so you really don't have to type anymore.
Yeah.
So I use it in that respect, and then I've taught a lot of our team to use it intelligently that way. You can plug in guidelines. I mean, it's amazing how much you can teach it. In terms of your question with where do I think it's going to take the mortgage business, I think the impact is going to be more profound than people are anticipating. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, you'll see AI develop so quickly that it can have full-blown conversations with people.
Over the phone.
Yeah, I think conversational AI is going to be transformative. There's a lot of stuff it will do in terms of underwriting. It's already doing it.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing the major lenders using AI to sort of underwrite transactions at a high level, produce condition sets, do quality control, do post close. Like there's a lot of applications on the back end that will reduce the need for certain members of operations. It will increase the speed at which approvals can be produced. But I think on the LO side, you'll see conversational AI call leads. It's doing it now.
Yeah.
You'll see it talk to borrowers and answer questions. A lot of things that are quite time consuming for LOs. It'll do some pretty profound stuff. It's going to see interesting to see how the banking department sort of handles some of that conversational stuff.
Let me get your thoughts on this, because the vision that I have, and people again have been saying this for years, what it will ultimately do is everything that you just said, which is basically speed up the entire process, go through docs, all this. So it will ultimately free up LO's times tremendously.
It should.
Okay, therefore, the average LO will be able to handle 2 to 3 times the amount of volume.
Yes.
And because it's making the process so much more efficient, I think at the end of the day, it will benefit the consumer. I think we'll see overall margin compression in the business, but in a good way. It's just because internal mortgage, whether it's us, whether it's the lenders, services, will become so much more efficient. Costs will be reduced because of AI. Yes. Consumers will ultimately be able to get better rates, lower to no fees, etc. That's kind of where I'm thinking it's going to go.
For sure, that's where it will take the business. That may take 5 to 10 years to occur, but the margin compression will occur. I think retail's in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's so many LOs out there that are focused on doing a low quantity of volume and charging very high fees to do it. Those are the folks that will go away. That's the blockbuster video approach to the business. Yeah. Whereas the more and more tech comes out, the more wholesale has a presence. You're going to see those margins get thinner and thinner, which means better rates for consumers. Yeah. Smaller commissions for loan officers and mortgage companies.
But that's okay if they're doing a third of the work that they were doing now anyway.
Precisely.
It's
but just more volume, which is great. That's good for everyone, man.
Exactly.
Like, you got to do more transactions. The margins are going to be thinner, right? You'll make less money per transaction, but you'll do way more volume. Maybe you can do, it's a third the work, you'll do 3x the volume, but your commission's half of what it used to be. You'll still make more in the end. So AI really should help us in that respect, and that's why we should be on the forefront of it. We should be embracing it. That's why we're so focused on it, is how can we deploy those tools to make our team better?
Yeah, I'm personally using it for like every aspect of my life.
I will use it in every aspect. I talk to it every night.
Yeah, it feels... it frees up brain power.
Yeah.
Right. And
I don't use Google anymore.
Key. Yeah.
I never use
ChatGPT is the new Google.
Yeah. I don't use, listen, there's this big debate like, will Google go away? Right. I don't think so.
There'll be a population that will use it forever. I think they have Gemini? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I think that's what Google's figured out is like they integrate their AI into search. And so that's working. But I think what's going to be really, really fun and really cool and really fascinating is going to be robotics. I think as you see more and more robots get deployed.
Like literal physical robots.
I mean physical robots, like Tesla's building robots. There's a lot of other companies building robots.
I can't wait to get one.
Yeah, like you might, go to Starbucks, and instead of talking to a barista or somebody who takes your order, you may just talk to a robot and tell them what you want. But that robot speaks beautifully, can think, maybe soon better than we can.
Yeah.
Right? This is some of the scary stuff associated with it, but
Terminator coming to real life.
Yeah, maybe, a little, but I do think, realistically speaking, in 5 years you'll see a massive population of robots deployed in the world economy.
Wow.
I mean, Tesla's using them on the manufacturing floor in their plants now.
I didn't know they were actually using them.
Yeah, they're actually deployed. So, I mean, I want one, definitely. Think about, like, I have a robot to do my laundry, clean my house, answer my door.
I'll take
my
right
dog
now.
for a walk. Yeah. Like, you can buy a robot like that for $20,000 that has a lifespan of 10 years. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there are certain things people will still want to do themselves, but they have that choice, right? Some people will want to walk their dog, some people will want to do their own laundry for whatever reason, but it's options.
Yeah, like I don't want to do my laundry or clean anything in my house. So if I can have a robot do that, it's cool. Yeah. Right. So
I like walking my dogs, but I like walking them right now because it's summer.
Yes.
In the winter, I may very well change my mind.
Yeah, you might walk your dog some days, and other days have your robot do it.
Okay, so that brings me to another question.
That was fun.
What do you feel LOs need to focus on over the next 12 months, not necessarily just to survive, but to set them up for success? Because the business is going through a transition, right? It kind of has been for the past 2-3 years anyway. Yep. So what do you feel they need to focus on, or we need to focus on?
I think LOs need to focus on how to streamline the way that they approach the business and do more business development in general.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why is the number one complaint amongst realtors in the United States that LOs don't answer their phone?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? Like, why? Like, that means that you're not doing your job as an LO, right? Like, if your referral source is a realtor and they're sending you a lot of business. Now, if your referral source is not a realtor and you're somebody that works leads and that's predominantly how you source your transactions, right, you're very one-dimensional, right? What I always preach is don't be one-dimensional as an LO. Right, you got to have multiple ways to bring business in. Leads is great, and that's cool. But if you're not doing business development and working with realtors and doing it in a scientific way, using tooling, using big data to understand what realtors to go after, who's going to transact, who has more of a propensity to use you. If you're not using that modeling, you should be.
Right, and we can teach you how.
We can teach you how for sure. That's kind of what we do. That's part of why our LOs tend to come here and scale.
Where do you see Madison going over the next 5 to 10 years? I'm not talking about production because we talked about that before, but in terms of like company size or the culture, how the teams, not the ops, but the LO teams will look. Do you think it will be more of, single LOs here? Do you think it will be more team structured, or a little mix of both?
I mean, if the choice is mine, so the answer to your question is I think we'll have hundreds and hundreds of LOs who are spread out, who all do 1 or 2 transactions a month, 3 transactions a month. They service their local groups. I think there will be a population of that within Madison. I think there will be the folks that always want to win and do more and scale large, like yourself, and do big volume. Those are the folks that we'll build big teams around them, probably stay within our corporate infrastructure or launch branches and build out their teams in order to do massive scale. I'm talking 30, 40 loans a month. Right. There's going to be plenty of those. Like you're going to do that. So I think your team needs to grow. It is growing now, right? You've added some more players to your team. But I think the makeup of Madison will be a mix of all of that. I think we'll be fairly sizable in terms of teams, in terms of the way that we're built. But I also think we'll have a lot of mass LOs that are everywhere, and we'll have some great teams that are servicing those folks, right? The folks that need help, that might only do 1 or 2 a month, but need some guidance and need some help. Even though they're on a flat fee model, they still need somebody to call and be like, hey, how do I do this? Or use Madison Mortgage AI and get a lot of the answers that you need. But still sometimes you need to talk to an underwriter and say, hey, will you just look at this loan for me because it's pretty complicated. This is the way I've set it up. and somebody can look at it and scrub it. So that's a big goal of mine is setting the building a really, really strong apparatus to be able to do that and service the LOs that we have.
Yeah, which we have already.
We
it's
have
just going to grow.
But I want to do it at
stronger.
massive scale and use tons of AI and tech to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. Please get that done. Anything I can do to help, let me know.
It's going to happen.
Brings me to another thought. So a lot of something that you mentioned earlier is that pound for pound, our volume, per LO is pretty large.
Yeah.
Between all the team leads or even the single LOs just doing their own thing. But what's also interesting is that personality-wise, we're all kind of different, right?
Much different.
So what characteristics would you say that we do have in common, or you feel that top producing LOs, because a lot of LOs, not just us, but across the entire industry, what characteristics are the driving factors that you would say is behind their success?
I mean, this one's easy because it just comes down to behavioral styles. It's very rare. It's usually like, if you look at something like a DISC assessment, it's usually the high D, high economic, or the high I, high S, high economic. It's typically people who are energized by human interaction and who enjoy interacting with other humans. People that the DI is the problem solver, interact with humans, and economically motivated, right? People that want to get things done, that are motivated by results, right? And money is only one measure of result, but those people, that behavioral style tends to do really, really well. I can usually spot them pretty easily. You can tell the people that are sort of enjoy people. But then you also look at a guy like yourself, who I wouldn't necessarily class as an extrovert. I would say that you were probably a bit more of an introvert initially, very methodical, very detail-oriented in terms of your way to approach things. You were always extremely personable, but you're not somebody that needs human interaction for energy.
Actually, I'll correct you on that.
Okay.
So that's what I thought for a long, long time. And I learned over time that I wouldn't say, I mean, you're right. I'm not like a massive, massive extrovert, but I was just I was an anxious person. Anxiety runs in my family.
Okay.
Right. So it's just something that I worked on, and I learned through, as you know, all the, for the past year I've been pretty isolated with surgery and, all this stuff. And I learned through it that I need to be around people, people, because I'm stuck at home. I'm nursing this shoulder on 4 separate occasions over 10 months. It's like, then every time I go out, I go to PT, I go to the gym, I come to the office, and I'm around the team. It's like, okay, suddenly I'm happy again.
Yeah.
It's great. So I feel even myself, I'm, again, not a massive extrovert, but definitely.
You're not a deep introvert either by any means. Yeah, I agree.
But fueled by people, and it also helps when the people that you're around are awesome.
Yes.
Right? If you're, let's say, an extrovert and you're around sucky people, you're not going to bring the best parts of your personality out. It's just not going to happen.
No doubt. I mean, humans by design, sort of regardless of who you are, what your behavioral style is, then it feels good to be around people, especially good people that you are comfortable with and like and trust and right. So, but to the point I was making about you is like I don't think you're like a high D, high I, super person that's like super energized. I also don't think you're like an SC that's like very introverted and doesn't really need human interaction. I think you're probably in the middle, but I think you have those skills, and you sort of, I was going to say, you've sort of worked on how to be more comfortable with it and sort of in the interactions. And so you always get those folks that are...
It can be worked on.
Oh, yeah. That's the cool thing about behavior, is that all of it can be modified. Yeah. Right? So you may be behaviorally predisposed a specific way, but all behavior can be modified. Everything in life, whether it's your mind, your body, like you can work on everything, right? You can get better every day if you choose to do so.
How do you feel is the best way for people to overcome that? Like, I feel, for instance, Gabby asked me literally an hour before we started this, she asked me for like my favorite quote. She wants to put on a mug for me, and it was actually my yearbook quote as well. It was from like Rocky VI. It's life isn't about how hard you can hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And I can't do the whole Rocky speech. I would if I could, but I think a lot of it comes down to, and I wanted to ask you how you feel about it. Do you feel it sometimes just comes down to plain old grit, plain old discipline? You just push, because it's not super. I mean, it can be happy and pleasant with who you work with, but when it comes time to working and getting things done, sometimes you just got to grind.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the people that win in this business or in any business are the ones that are willing to put the work in, man. Like it's fucking hard. Yeah. It's hard in any business, especially if you're operating a business the way you are or the way that I am, right? Like we're running our businesses, and so in order to excel, you need to work hard, man. Like you really need to work hard. So listen, there's some commonality amongst the top producers here, right? They're all grinders. They're all super hard workers, right? I don't think you can be successful in this business without like a really strong desire and drive to work, right? It means putting in the hours. Some folks are more efficient than others.
Sure.
But if you're not grinding and working hard, like you're probably not going to be successful in the mortgage business.
Yeah. And it's much easier to grind and work hard when you can see where the business is potentially going to go. Over the past few years, I felt this new like fire. It's like I see where we can take this thing to a whole other level. And to be fair, the level that we're at right now, I didn't even think it was achievable 10 years ago.
I know.
So yeah, like I remember this is something I mentioned. I tell the story at least like 2-3 times a year. We were at the old office in 38 South. And John and I were like hanging outside his office, and at the time I think we were doing like 5 units a month, which is the equivalent to 2.3 million a month, which was still respectable.
Was strong in retail,
to be fair, But and then you came over to us and it's like, guys, we're going broke. I'm going to get you to 10 units a month. And John and I like laughed. Yeah. You know, it was like, how we're dying doing 5 units a month. How are we going to do 10? And, you know, I think one of my biggest months a few years ago, I mean, it was the height of the business. I did 32 in a month. Yep. Right. And it's just like to go from 5 to that it's just crazy.
Yeah. Or to do your 15 or 20 that you still consistently do every single month. Right. Like, you know, in retail, that doesn't really exist. Like the producers just, you know, most guys don't know, you know, like you don't know what you don't know, and you don't realize that you're at these like small IMBs and they just don't know how to execute transactions well and quickly, and so you can't do as much business, or your pricing sucks because there's multiple layers of margin built in, so you're losing transactions that you should be winning.
Yeah, right. I think that the infrastructure just doesn't allow for them to be efficient. It's not possible, and that old model, like you said a while ago, it's a dinosaur. It's dying, doing 1 to 2 loans a month, and you know, banging consumers over the head. It's dead.
Here's the thing that like LOs don't get, which frustrates me, is like, man, if you're doing 2 loans a month and you're making $5,000 a loan, right? You're making $10,000, right? But if you come here and you make $2,500 a loan, but you do 10 loans, you're making $25,000 a month, right? And it's like, okay,
for the same amount of work.
Yeah, it's really like there's a little bit more work involved from 2 to 10, but it's not 5x. It's probably 2x, right? 2x, but you get 2.5x your income, and all those clients are going to wind up getting good deals, like better rates than you would have delivered there. You don't lose as many deals. You build more realtor relationships in the process. You scale your business in a way that sort of, you don't have as much concentration risk, where you're like all of your livelihood is dependent on these 2 transactions that you're accustomed to closing a month. When you start doing 10, you know, if you do 8, you're like, shoot. But if you do 15,
it's great.
Yeah, it's quite exciting. So, you know, I don't know why they don't see it, but I guess having been in retail as long as we were, we didn't have any idea that this existed or that this platform was possible. Right?
Yeah. Well, the truth is, at the time, the broker channel just wasn't where it is now. It wasn't as developed.
Probably not, but there were still a lot of folks doing a lot of loans in broker since well before we entered, right? And so maybe there's more awareness around it now than there was 5 years ago, right? Yeah. You know, right place at the right time, right? Maybe that was some good instinctual decision making 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was a good leap of faith. It worked.
It feels like that, right? Because there was nobody doing it.
Yeah.
And there were little guys doing it, but nobody doing it at scale.
Agreed.
Right? But so I think that's what we sort of did in New York specifically. That's exciting, and it's kind of fun now. We get to try and really take it to the next level.
Well, it's easier in New York too because these retail companies are charging crazy amounts.
Crazy.
Yeah. How many states are we licensed in right now?
We're in 42 as of this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Nice.
Pretty exciting.
Pretty crazy.
It's wild, but it's fun. I mean, there are a lot of them we haven't done loans in yet because we know some of them are newer. But
it's good to have them available to. For instance, I have 17, 18 state licenses just in case I need them, but I only use a fraction of them.
We got a couple of requests for, we have Arizona. Like we've gotten a couple of requests from since we've gotten it because people know that we have it, or we did a Wyoming loan, or a Washington loan, or so it's fun. It's great to have all those states. It's great to not have to tell a potential client we can't do their loan because they're not licensed there. I hate that.
Yeah, I hate it too. It's like you develop that relationship, that opportunity, but even states we aren't licensed in, thank God we have an amazing network of mortgage professionals, brokers specifically.
But we'll get licensed in all of them, so that
we will eventually. We will eventually, but it's good to refer them to the right people.
Agreed.
Okay, final question. I like this question a lot. When people hear the name Shah Tehrany, what do you want them to think?
The truth is, I don't really give a fuck.
I had a feeling it could go either way.
The reality is, look, you always want people to think well of you. What would I like them to think? What would I like them to think is true is he's a really smart guy. He's a really kind person.
Yep.
He's a hard worker and a smart, successful guy, and he's fun to be around, right? He has good perspective on life and his approach, like family first and then work. But most of all, he's just an overall good human being. Yeah, that's what I'd like them to think.
I can attest to that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. This was fun.
This was almost an hour. We did very well.
Yeah, we did good.
Shah Tehrany, our founder and CEO.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
So when we go on Rogan together,
Rogan will love to hear about.
Rogan. We'll have a good chat with Rogan. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, he'll be very interested in what we have to say.
Yes, I'm sure.